There are those that just want to be left alone, and those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? The Ernest Hancock Show.
I've been waiting for something to happen, for a week or a month or a year, with the blood and the ink of the headlines and the sound of the crowd in my ear. You might ask what it takes to remember, when you know that you've seen it before, where a government lies to a people and a country is drifting to war. And there's a shadow on the faces of the men who sent the guns to the wars that are fought in places where their business interest runs. On the radio, talk shows, and the TV, you hear one thing again and again, how the USA stands for freedom, and we come to the aid of a friend. But who are the ones that we call our friends? These governments killing their own, or the people who finally can't take anymore, and they pick up a gun or a brick or a stone, and there are lives in the balance.
There are lives in the balance. That's right, lives in the balance. Jackson Browne, it's just, it's so true, a lot of the things, the lyrics in that song. And I wanted to make sure that we all understand that it is lives in the balance. And it's going to get worse for a lot of people, or it's going to get better. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And bad guys don't stop being bad until they're made to. You always hear me say, why do they do this? How do they get away? Because they can. And they do it until they can't. Well, the Oath Keepers are coming and trying to say, at least you can't do it and without getting some attention. So what do you think is the most powerful effect you're going to have on this situation, Stewart Rhodes from Oath Keepers, Mr. Attorney for Ed Foster and Jennifer Jones in their civil litigation? So you're going to play such a large role in this. There's such an enormous amount of weight that's on your shoulders in making sure that this comes off right. And I just want to make sure that you are clear about what your intentions, your methods, and what you're hoping will be the eventual outcome of this.
Well, I think the biggest and most powerful arrow in our quiver is the fact that 10 of his own police officers broke ranks and stood aside and said, your doing is unconstitutional. We will no longer follow those unconstitutional orders. I think that's our biggest weapon. And so we're going there to support and back them up in doing that. And that's the biggest thing we can do. The most important thing we can do is say, yes, they're right to do that, and we're here to draw attention to this. And as you know, you turn the lights on, and cockroaches scurry. And so bringing national attention to this stand by these 10 officers and the stand of Mayor Foster, giving him props and support also. And so that's the thing, is moral support and backup and bringing more attention to it is the best thing we can do right now.
One of the things that I'm afraid...
Going there and giving the chief an excuse to cover his butt.
One thing I'm afraid about is that they, of course, did a recall election against the mayor, and that happens Tuesday after you go on that Saturday. And I don't trust the computers. I don't trust how the early balloting. I don't trust all the older people that are out there are going to have the government people come in here, let me help you vote kind of deal. Because they've done this stuff before. All this stuff I've seen happen in various jurisdictions, and I'm asking questions of the people, and we go into dinner and lunch after the show, and I go, look, did they do this, and this? And this is what happened they did in Scottsdale. This is what happened they do it in Glendale. This is what happened, I said, look, I already know where this goes. Is this over if Ed loses? Really? You're right, this battle's done if they place their own guy? And what they did is one of the city councilmen resigned as city councilman. So they filled that spot by appointing one of their buddies somewhere else in there to fill that spot so this city councilman could run against Ed because they needed to get rid of this mayor thing so they can do what they wanted to do. And he didn't really do anything other than asking for documents. I want to know the finances. Where did all this money go? Who got it? Where these checks that are a dollar amount, and that's it. Payroll, who does it go to? Who are these people? Where's the money? And they're just like, oh, heck no. That is what's got them all worried. So what do you think the future is going to be, regardless of the outcome of the election?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that'll even if they were successful in removing him, that's not going to. That's you can't unring that bell. They've already concealed, potentially concealed documents that they're required under law to provide. So there's possible violations right there. So there's many potential legal violations and criminal acts that have already been committed, and so that's not going to go away. But the way to make sure there's some teeth behind that is to keep putting pressure on the AG's office and the governor's office and the AG's office of Arizona has a civil rights division. Why? What are they for if they're not going to investigate violations of civil rights, including election law violations, including open meeting law violations, but not limited to that, but also persecution, allegations of persecution of political opponents. Every time you run for office in Quartzsite, you get arrested. It's expected. So they need to investigate these things. That's one more thing you need to do. So no matter what happens on Tuesday, folks across Arizona need to keep putting pressure on the AG over and over again on Tom Horn to do his job.
They're trying to wait these guys out. They're trying to just, hopefully Stewart Rhodes and Oath Keepers will go away. Hopefully the Levolution will go away. Hopefully Freedom's Phoenix will go away. Hopefully everybody will go away. C4L, the Patriot, Tea Party, everybody will go away, and we can get back to business, okay? That's what's going on. And I understand that. That's why they went under this state of emergency thing, so that they could just kind of hunker down and we can do whatever. Now, I'm going, all right. Now, this is where you and I, Stewart and I know each other. You've spoken at the Freedom Summits before. We've worked together on a lot of things. I know that you're a big Ron Paul supporter. In fact, didn't you used to work for Dr. Paul in some fashion?
I worked in his D.C. office. That's right.
So this is, Stewart and I both have a long pedigree. And the one thing that I want to make sure is that anything that I get involved in, we do this. I'm a long-term kind of guy. I've been following Quartzsite for 15 years. And I'm going, all right, if you're willing to do, regardless of what happens after the recall election, if you're willing to stay involved, if you're going to have the civil suit, if you're going to keep Quartzsite on top of the tippy list that this is a good example of, then I'll do what I can to work with you and help, and we'll keep this in the headlines.
That's what we're doing. We want this to be the tip of the spear for restoration.
Peace through peace.
Right.
Now, they're going to be bad. They can't help themselves, but they got to draw first blood. I'm sure they will. They already have, So I'm like, all right. I mean, if I can get your commitment that we're not going to let these, get it all built up and then abandon them, because it's going to come in waves. There's a bunch of stuff that's coming. I've seen this before. There's always some other project. There's some other development. There's some other government agency. There's some other international, national, road, highway, something, and this is going to keep going because the people that moved out there to get away from these big bills, all of a sudden, they opened a business. They have the RV park. They're not paying by the volume of water. They're paying by per hookup they got when it's vacant 7 months out of the year. They're killing these people. They're murdering their businesses. This is amazing. It's all about control. So if you're willing to, us maintain folk. I mean, I know you and I both are busy. We got to do other stuff. But from my knowledge and experience, Quartzsite is a manageable size for certainly us to be able to keep some attention on it and know what's happening. It's not like we got to have 400 employees of some bureaucracy. It's one or two. Right. So by that,
it's a good example too. You've got a good combination. You've got a good mayor. You got some good police officers. You got a pretty strong core of activists in the town, and now you got a coalition of strong groups across the state coming together. So it's a very good one to focus on.
Yes, it is. By all my experience. This is because I went through this before. We didn't have the internet when they did it in Apache Junction. Now that we have the internet and alternative media and a lot of stuff that we got, Quartzsite has no idea what's coming. They think they do. The bad guy is a good guy. Everybody, they don't understand from the experiences that you and I have of the force that can be brought to bear on them just by attention. And I mean, I got activists that'll just live there with video cameras and they're done, man. This is so, 4409 went out there and how creative he gets. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and I'm not going to, all right, I'll go. Damn it. All right, I'll go out. I'll go and cover this thing, but under the condition that, we get to do Levolution. We go out there and be peaceful. We're there, we're embracing all the town folk and say, we're all about love. because it's got to be a long-term thing because I know where this goes. And I think we've tapped into something that's much larger, Stewart. We need to talk. Oh, yeah, we're going to try and get Jordan Page out there. Now, you watch.
We'll get him out there.
All right, we will. We're going to put up a chip in and everything. I mean, the guy's not free. I mean, he's got, bills to pay and so on. But, we get him out, come out from, I think he's in Illinois now, or Indiana. And we're going to go ahead and put it up, and hopefully by the end of the weekend, we'll raise a couple $1,000, get his plane ticket and covered and get him out there and doing whatever. Jordan Page on 27th. Ooh, we're all going to the party.